Good evening, everyone. I'm Nathan, here with my wonderful wife, Laura.
Hello.
And we're here to do a review of the board game called Another Day, Another Dollar, the life skills board game.
Yes, so this one is intended as kind of an educational game. It's produced by Tate and the Melbourne City Mission, so it's kind of designed to help people maybe in not the best like financial circumstances or life circumstances.
May that be loss of work, addictions, or homelessness, things like that.
So the idea is, again, young people who are in those sort of bad situations, I guess to see how their money disappears fast is the best way I can put it after having had a go at this.
Yeah, so basically you can select one of the characters and each character has sort of statistics, so their age, star sign, and then I wouldn't say issues. Situation. So Mr. Wazza is on youth allowance, he is cigarettes, and he's also a gambler.
Yes, and he has a hex debt to pay, which, now if you're watching from somewhere who doesn't have all these same things, this is an Australian board game. Youth allowance is kind of a payment for youths that helps them from the government to pay their rent and bills and things like that.
If they can't find work or if they're studying and things like that.
And a hex debt is a study debt that they've got to pay off.
So depending on what their issues are, is how their money goes. Like, for instance, he would pay for cigarettes, but Bella would not. So how about we take a look at them and we'll get a better idea, huh?
You can probably tell this box is enormous as well.
Wow.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is longer than our arms. Alright, it doesn't need to be. They could have just made the board smaller.
So here's the manual. We'll have a scan of it below if anyone has ever played this, which I've got to be honest, it's a very niche game. So, but it's there. We'll have it below.
Yep. So we have some money, which is modelled after the Australian banknotes.
The old banknotes, because Australia in the last 5 years has gotten all updated ones, but the more traditional ones, a lot of older people will recognise more.
Well, we had these in our lifetime, for years, for most of it.
We're older people. We're not young'uns.
Alright, so we have $20. These are not in order, as you can see. We have $10. They do have to print on them that they are play money, otherwise it's
illegal.
You're trying to make real money. We have the $100 bill, and I think the $50 bill or note as well. The back is just the same. Well, I mean...
Well, yeah.
No, actually it is identical. So normally the backs of our notes actually are different to the fronts.
But they just reverse the front picture.
Yeah. So you get quite a bit of that. It's just paper, but most play money is.
We have basically just a pad to keep track of bills, credit and things.
Well, this one is the credit score pad.
Here we go.
One loose sheet off
the player budgeting pad.
And then there is the credit score pad there as well. Quite a lot of those. They were pretty generous. This is used, so there's still a lot left. Maybe it wasn't played very often. I don't know.
Shall we take a look at the characters?
Sure.
So we have obviously the name, age, star sign for some reason, and then their situation. So Jennifer is addicted to alcohol, drugs, rents privately, study, plus works part-time. So those take into account space on the board. So they'll say you've landed on like an addiction space or something. I can't remember what they're called, but the board.
We'll get to that on the board.
And depending on what you pull up, it'll say how much each addiction or issue costs, and then you pay that amount. So
we won't read out every single detail, but we'll just flick through. So we have
Evie, Leroy, Wazza, David, Bella, Natalie, and Danny.
Yeah. Alright, so then each of those characters, so no matter who you play, you get
has a credit card or a bank card.
It says not your wealth bank.
Because it's not your wealth, and so you got one of each for each one.
They really don't do anything.
Not much.
It's just like
a token thing.
Yeah, to hold on to. Then we have our cards, which push forward a lot of things about the game.
Oh, by the way, with the character movers, they just sit on a plastic stand.
The character movers are the cards, we should mention, if you want to just bring that back.
And I should also mention, it's a nice touch when you look at Jennifer. You're looking at Jennifer from behind and it's all backwards. So it's like you're looking, it's...
front and back. Yeah, it's interesting that they've done that.
There you go, just sort of...
I don't like the cards being the pieces though.
No, they can get damaged easily, I find.
Yeah. Alright, so then we have phone cards here. They just say phone on each side.
They basically just say if you have a phone or not.
Yep.
in your possession.
So you have to purchase a phone. I think if you land on a phone space in the game, and then you can kind of lose that if you have to sell it for money and things like that.
And you also have to pay for like phone credit and all that too.
Yeah. All right, then we have the make or break cards. So there's quite a lot of those, as you can probably see.
And these
there.
basically function as like community chest or chance cards and like a Monopoly. You pull them up and then you either get a negative or positive thing, or it tells you to do something.
Yeah, so in this case you get $100, which is for bond assistance. So if you're moving into a new home, you have to pay a bond, an amount of money to them. So that's for that.
Sell CDs, $20. It sort of ages it a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. Lose your ID, so you miss a turn. So obviously some are good, some
School
are bad.
fees, minus 180.
That's expensive. Get over, paid by shopkeeper. Oh, get over, paid by, sorry. Woo, gotta read that right. Get over, paid by shopkeeper, you get $5 extra, you find some money.
So yeah, they're all sort of...
Late video fines.
Oh,
wow,
boy.
that's taken us
Get
back,
a reward
isn't
for
it?
returning lost wallet.
I'm just going to flick through a few of these.
Sell
Feel
by.
free to slow this down.
The youth allowance back pay, yeah. Fine for spinning. Oh, it's expensive, that one.
And then we have these
The
other cards.
habit card. So if you land on a habit card, you go, okay, here's what the habits are on this card. And I've got Evie. Does Evie have any of these? Evie has drugs and alcohol, so I would pay $120 and then $80.
Yeah.
So $200 for the habits she has.
Yes, so again, this is kind of, I guess, the main part of the game is the idea of you're seeing, wow, look at how much money is going out on these addictions or issues or whatever, or your vices, I suppose.
I mean, Leroy's got drugs and cigarettes, so he'd pay $120 plus $60, so $180 he would pay if he landed on that space and so forth. And
Yep.
each
Each
card
card's slightly
has
different.
slightly different values depending on which one you pick up.
I think you picked one of the biggest ones there
I did.
first, yeah.
So, yeah, and as you'll probably find out, you don't get a lot of money on youth allowance, and a lot of it goes
No.
to rent
Yeah.
and food.
Yeah. Which they do make you pay. Now, the back of our box, it is blank normally, but whoever owns
It's been
it for us
graffitied.
has drawn on it, so we'll just leave. Now, let's... this is enormous. It is twice the size of the box. It's just unnecessarily large because this part is just the name of the game in a big $sign. And is totally unnecessary. It just doesn't need to be this
half
big.
the size, it would have been good. So basically, you play for, I believe, rounds, and I think each round is a fortnight. And each fortnight is 14 days.
Yeah, so each kind of like half of the board is a fortnight. However, the instructions say the whole board, the whole circle is a fortnight. So they got that slightly wrong in the instructions.
Yeah, so...
I mean, we worked it out by counting. So.
But I mean, you can pretty much just determine how long you want to play. You go, okay, I want to play for 2 months. So that's, that'd be 4 fortnights.
Oh yeah, so it says how many times, number of weeks or months players will move around the board. So it says 1 round equals a fortnight, but then it says elsewhere in the instructions that 1 space is 1 day, which would then mean that this is a fortnight and then that's a fortnight. There's too many spaces for 1 whole round to be. So you just maybe establish before you're playing, which one you're going to go with. So, yeah. Alright, so you make or break cards go out on the board.
Which we would put there.
Sorry, I've left them over here. All other cards are just kind of left nearby so that you can grab them when you need them. You get your player and they start on the payday spaces. So there's 1 down here and then there's 1 up the opposite end of the board.
Which we can't quite get on camera because it's massive.
No, we really can't get all of it on board. There's meant to be a banker.
Preferably someone not playing the game.
It does say that, yeah, so they can kind of keep track. That's kind of boring.
Yeah.
I've never wanted to be a banker while everybody else had fun playing a game.
But I can see why they did it for this specific game.
Yeah. Okay, so you start with $300 of the money, which is the youth allowance amount, and your personal credit card, of course.
And your credit card, I'm not going to bother giving the right ones, but you start with credit card, piece on the board, you get $300 from a youth allowance.
Yeah, there are supposed to be dice. They weren't in here. 1, I should say, not dice, die. Now, the banker is also responsible for keeping a credit score when there's any expenses and payments and things, which we'll kind of cover in a minute. And then otherwise you just move around the board as you normally would and kind of follow what you land on.
And pretty much go bankrupt very quickly, we found.
Yeah. So,
You can't go bankrupt, by the way. If you go into negative money, you basically have to borrow the money.
yes.
So you can't lose
and then you have to pay it back or interest on it.
Yeah,
as
so
well.
you can't lose the game and get out quickly.
No. So phone day spaces, they have a little phone symbol on them. That's when you buy the phone card that we showed earlier. They're $100. Oops, sorry. The first time when you land on it, if you don't have enough cash, then at some other point in the game, you can sell that phone card back to the bank. You only get $50 though, so it's not.
Hey, well, that's what happens with technology.
That is true. You can sell it to another player, but you have to negotiate the value, and I doubt they're going to give you $100 for it, because they could just wait till they land on the space, and they don't need one anyway.
No, the phone just it ends up being an expense overall.
Yeah. If you have a phone card, though, at the end of the game, you do sell that back to the bank for $100, and then the person with the most money at the end is the winner.
I mean, are they the winner, though, or are they just best at managing their money?
Well, they're the winner, I guess. If you land on phone day, but you already have a phone, then you have to purchase...
phone credit.
Yeah. So that's 10 times the amount that you roll.
So that can suck if you roll a 6.
Then we have our cards, just when you land on a make or break.
Pick it up, follow the directions, easy.
Yep, we've already mentioned the habit cards. The habit spaces just have the habits themselves, kind of something representing them.
You pick it up and then you pay basically whatever your particular character has.
The payday spaces, so there's only 2 of those because it's a fortnightly payment here. This is kind of the frustrating part, and I suppose this reflects real life. But when you get there, when you land on it only, it doesn't say when you pass it, which I thought was a bit odd.
We sort of played when you passed it, because it was like, it's sort of like, okay, hi, Centrelink or whatever. We didn't come in that day and like, oh, sorry, you missed out your payment, you got to wait 2 weeks. It's sort of like, well...
Yeah, you really need it every time you pass a payday. So you get your $300 youth allowance.
$300 to pretend that is. Ah, beautiful, I'm flush with cash.
But then you take that and you pay $150 for rent and food. So you're actually only getting $150. And then on your payday, you have to decide if you need to pay off any credit from your credit card that if you haven't been able to pay for something earlier,
like your
has
phone
been
card
written on there.
or bills and fine or whatever it may be.
If you can't do that, you have to pay $50, on your credit card, or 10% of your total debt is added on. If you do not pay that $50 twice in a row as you go past, then there's a suspension of your card. Which means
card.
No more credit can be added on here for you until you make a payment. What have I missed?
The bills and fines and the busted and big day off and a couple other ones.
So bills and fines, when you land on those spaces, you throw the dice and then it's 20 times the roll to the bank. Ouch. I mean, if you only got $150, $50 has gone to your credit card.
Yeah.
Then you only have 100 left and you roll a big number.
6, then that's 120 and you're back in debt again.
Yep. There are the busted spaces as well. If you land on them, you have to either miss a turn or pay for the cost of being busted. Or throw the dice and then you pay 20 times the amount shown.
So, I mean, it's annoying.
Oh, no, sorry, the miss a turn is to pay for the cost. So you can either miss a turn or roll and pay the money, but...
I mean, you'd obviously miss a turn because money's such a scarce resource in this game, but that's not really real life. You can't go to the cops. Yeah, look, I know I
was busted.
I know I was busted or whatever, littering. Can I just sit here for maybe 6 hours and then just go? Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, it doesn't quite work like that. Then there's entertainment days.
There's big night off and
so there's actually
entertainment day.
Yeah. So there's a space called entertainment day. That's you going to a show. You throw the dice and it's 10 times the amount shown for your day's worth of entertainment. And then the ones you were talking about, big night off and big
day off.
If you decide to stay in, then you pick up a make or break card. If you decide to go hang out with your mates, aka have your big night or
Off,
whatever
it may be,
then you miss a turn. So, I don't know, up to you, I guess. Whatever floats your boat. So whatever you think's going to benefit you most.
So basically, you go around your predetermined time, and then whoever at the end's got the most money or the least amount of debt, I guess.
Yeah. So the debt factors in. So you could end the game with no actual cash. So if you don't have enough left to pay off whatever you've put on your credit card, then your end result is negative. I mean, yeah.
So, I mean, I suppose I was on youth allowance many, 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 many years ago, and I don't recall being this dire financial strait when playing this game back when I was on it. Like, it's very easy to go into negative, and it's very hard to get back
In the
out
game.
in the game.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But I think Nathan and I have maybe never not been in the situations that like the characters
No.
in this game are in. We've always been a bit luckier than that. So.
yeah, so look, I get what they were trying to do. In terms of a fun board game, it's a lot of numbers and a very downer sort of game.
Yeah, it just makes you feel like you're never going to solve your issues. And it is not just those habits, like the bad habits, that obviously is what they're trying to illustrate, is they cost you a lot. They're not the only thing in the game, though, that really brings it, like, your money down.
You're like, oh, you trip and break something, $50 hospital bill and things like that.
Well,
It's like, well...
Well, it's also like, you know, paying the bills and the fines and your phone and busted and all that kind of thing. It all just makes it feel completely negative, and like no matter what you do and what choices you make, it's never going to be any better, which I think has kind of missed the mark a little bit there.
I mean, this one here, I just looked through about 10 cards there, and I think there was only one positive. This one's pay house bond of -500, which, well, yes, but then...
It's going on the credit card.
You know, pay bank fees and unexpected travel expense. So...
And again, we're not saying that this is not real life. I mean, this sort of stuff obviously does happen.
And I'm
people
sure there are
struggling.
people in this situation.
Yeah, of course. But again, when you're trying to educate, you need to maybe have just a little bit more interest and excitement in the game rather than making the game a downer. I don't think you take away that.
Like,
learning
if I was
experience.
I'm like, oh, damn, I really want to pull my pants up and get on the track, and I play this game and I end up on -300,000. I'm like, well...
Well, that's never happening. Yeah, I don't think it leaves you with a positive message of this can improve, sort of thing. So I think it's missed the mark a little bit. Sorry.
It is fairly old. I think it's at least 20-something years old, if I recall. So, hey, maybe if they've got a new one out these days, it might be different.
Maybe. If you enjoyed watching this video, give us a thumbs up. Let us know in the comment section down below if you ever played this, if you're here in Australia, or maybe you're from another country and, you know, something local to you made something like this as well.
See, what this reminds me of is like, was it Cash Flow, or the purple board game with the rat on it?
Cash Flow.
Cash Flow. It teaches you sort of make money and keep it, and like, it sort of reminds me of that sort of thing, but less money.
Hit that subscribe button and check back soon. We have videos every single Tuesday.
Sounds good.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.